Hey, Cliff Briscoe here again today. I want to tell you about something. Rafa is going to be opening. It is our prayer and healing center. If you need healing or you know someone that needs healing, it's going to be opening the first of the year. You go to our website, find out more about it. It's going to be a place of supernatural healing transformation, no cost, just come, get healed. Is Jesus really God? You think? Is Jesus God? You know, when I was in seminary school, I went to Oral Roberts University, got my Master's of Divinity, and I had to read a book called The Myth of God Incarnate. And this guy, well, there was actually several of them that wrote articles saying that the idea of Jesus being God was just the New Testament writers trying to find a way to make him bigger than the gods that were out there. But what we have to understand is the problem. The problem is that man has a problem. Man has rebelled against God. He's lost the presence of God, and it's so bad, it's so horrific, that with that sin, he has no approach to God. So how is man going to get back? How is he going to find his way back into the heart of God? How does he get his presence? How can he ever gain God's favor? And the fact of the matter is he can't. There's not anything that a man could do that could bring God's favor back because he's in sin. He doesn't understand. His mind is demented. He doesn't think like God. He doesn't have the Spirit of God. And so God, in His love and His compassion, figured out a way. He decided that He would come. That there wouldn't be, and there's going to have to be punishment. Anytime that there's sin, anytime that there's something that gives way to wrongdoing, there has to be a punishment for it. Just like in our culture, in every culture, there is a punishment for doing wrong. And the punishment for sin was so high, there wasn't anything that a man could do to satisfy that. Because what Adam and Eve threw in the face of God, they didn't want the presence of God, they didn't want God's Word, they didn't want His plan for them. They threw that in His face and chose the devil. Bad choice, bad consequences. And what we've got to understand is that God, in His compassion and His mercy, decided and knew the only way that He could rectify what had happened in the universe is for there to be a punishment for sin, but it couldn't just be any man. It would have to be a God-man. It would have to be a man without sin himself. Because if he's a man, he's got sin, so whose sin is he going to die for? He'd have to die for his own sin. And so we've got to understand this. It's very important that the Jesus who died for you was sinless. He was God in the flesh. He became the sacrifice that brought back the presence of God and the forgiveness of sins so that you could know God in the power of the Holy Spirit. Merry Christmas. See you tomorrow.